Look, I'm starting to wonder if it's time to take the Seattle Seahawks seriously. I didn't think it. I know I picked the Seahawks these past few weeks to get a couple of surprise upsets. I picked them to surprise the Cardinals and win. I, along with a lot of other people, picked them to surprise the Chargers. They won both of those games convincingly. My co-host Christian picked them this week to beat the Giants. I couldn't do it. I went ahead and went the Giants, and they proved me wrong. They beat the Giants 27-13. The game was a little closer than it sounds with that score. The Seahawks got 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter and really pulled away. But this was a tight game all the way up until the fourth quarter. But I got to give the Seahawks props. I mean, they're 5-3. They are by far exceeding all expectations and I think really anybody had for them. I had them winning 5 games all year long. And quite honestly, just looking around the win projections going into the season, I'm pretty sure I had them winning more games than most people did. I mean, that's how lowly people thought of the Seahawks going into the season. A lot of people thought they were going to be competing for the 1, 2, or 3 spot in the draft. And instead, they're 5-3 on top of the NFC West. And by all accounts to me, look like they could be a viable playoff team as we move deeper and deeper into this season. Now, are they contenders to go deep? I don't think so. I don't think they're quite there yet. But boy, oh boy, this team has just been so good this year. It's been such a good story. It's been so fun to watch. It's been one of the biggest surprises. Their 3 losses, it's 2 close games, one against the Falcons, one against the Saints. They got mollywopped by the 49ers in week 2. Okay, fine. Yeah, you're still kind of piecing it together. A lot of rookies. But the thing about this team is I really wanted to, coming into this segment, say it's amazing what they're doing given the talent they have. Right, you look at the Giants, and they don't have the most talent, but they're winning. You look at the Falcons, they don't have the most talent, but they're still leading their division. And I wanted to kind of lump the Seahawks into that, but, the more I thought about it, I don't think that's fair. This team does have talent, and their draft class from this year with their rookies, it's been amazing. It starts with Tariq Woolen, their corner. They got him in the 5th round, and, he's tied for the lead in interceptions right now with 4. Kenneth Walker, their running back, he's having a great year, averaging 5.5 yards a carry almost. He has 5 touchdowns. He had a slow day against the Giants. He only had about 50 yards, but last week against the Chargers, he had 167 yards and 2 touchdowns. They also have 2 really solid new offensive linemen, Charles Cross and Abraham Lucas. They have been really good. And, let's talk about their quarterback. Let's talk about Geno Smith. Not a rookie, but definitely a sort of comeback player. Geno Smith, we thought his career was dead and gone years ago. I mean, he was drafted early in the 2nd round by the Jets a long time ago. Nobody really thought he was going to be anything, and he kind of just bounced around the league for a long time. He's been in Seattle now for a couple years, and boy, oh boy, has he just been a revelation this year. 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, almost 73% completion. I mean, it's such a good story what this team has done after they were just beat up all offseason. And I had them as my number 1 team. Of all the teams that got worse, I had them as the top team. They lost Russell Wilson in a trade. Everybody thought that was a bad trade for them because what can you possibly get back in value for that kind of quarterback? And it turns out they got it in spades. They have a boatload of draft picks from it. They got Noah Fant, a tight end. They got Drew Lock, a quarterback, and Drew Lock hasn't even seen the field, and there's no reason for him to see the field because Geno Smith has been awesome. But I'm looking at the Seahawks. I love their rookies. They have been really good, and I get it. You look at their defensive stats, it's not that impressive, but this unit in recent weeks has really come together more and more. They are doing better and better by the week. It doesn't look like it now when you look at the statistics, but this is a team that is really improving every week. And you expect that with rookies, right? You expect that with a young team that is still kind of coming into its own. It's also got a couple rookies on the defense outside of Tariq Woolen. But looking at their schedule going forward, it's pretty doable. I mean, they got the Cardinals. Okay, yeah, I think they could beat the Cardinals. They've already beaten them once. Why can't they do it again? They got the Bucks. Who knows what the Bucks are going to be doing? They have the Raiders. Well, the Raiders are a beatable team. That's a 2-5 football team right now. They have the Rams 2 more times. Maybe they split with those. They have the Panthers. Okay. They got to play the 49ers and the Chiefs. Those could be losses. And they got to play the Jets, which is maybe a 50-50 game depending on how the Jets are. But I mean, when you total those up, I mean, that's easily 5. They could get 5 more wins out of that list. I mean, that's a 10-7 record. So, I mean, I look at the Seahawks, and it feels to me like we've been trying to figure out who's that 7th seed going to be, right? You look at the NFC, it's going to be 3 teams out of the NFC East, it feels like, the winner, and then 2 wildcard teams. You're going to have the winner of the South, whoever wins that awful division. You're going to have the Vikings out of the North, and you're going to have the winner of the West. I don't think the Seahawks will win the NFC West. I don't think they will. I still think it's the 49ers. I think the 49ers are the better team. I still think the 49ers have yet to hit their stride. They're still getting healthier. But the Seahawks are going to be second in that division more than likely. I think they're better than the Rams. I think they're better than the Cardinals. Are they going to be the 7th seed? It really, to me, feels more and more like it every week we get into this. So, I mean, it's at the point now where this is more than just a feel-good story. This is a viable team this year in a conference that is pretty weak, and they are taking full advantage of a conference having a down year, and they're putting themselves in a position to get the job done and be a playoff team. And I think the last thing I'll say to really hammer the point home is I saw a tweet and somebody suggested it's very possible that the Seahawks have the coach of the year in Pete Carroll, the executive of the year in John Schneider, the comeback player of the year in Geno Smith, the offensive rookie of the year in Kenneth Walker, and defensive rookie of the year in Tariq Woolen. Now, are they going to sweep all those awards? Probably not, but the fact that when you look at those short lists of candidates for each of those awards, and they have somebody on that list, man, what a season the Seahawks are having. I think it's time to give them their props. I think it's time to take them seriously. They just knocked off a 6-2 Giants team that everybody loves. And what's more spectacular is they did it by beating the Giants in the point of the game where the Giants are the best. The Giants are the best in the second half and in the fourth quarters. And the Seahawks dominated at that point in the game. That was when they played their best football. You got to give them credit. The Seahawks, they went in and they outplayed the Giants situationally, and based on how the Giants have been this year, that is impressive. So good on the Seahawks. Congrats to them, and I feel just about ready to move the Seahawks into the playoff conversation.